Back in Atlanta, Georgia here for the WPH Race4Eight Professional Handball Tour. My name is Dave Vincent. Alongside David Fink, it's stop number 1 of season number 7. It's a semifinal match between Victor Perez and Stephen Cooney. But it's for the 9th place playoffs. These, Dave, we've found have been just as competitive as any of the other matches that we've seen.
Yeah, these two have a history of playing close matches against one another. These are both guys who could very easily have been in the round of 8 and beyond. Vic Perez, a semifinalist last season.
Good. All right, 0-0.
Stephen Cooney kind of on a comeback.
It's a 1-game match to 25, win by 2.
Short.
Yeah, it's good to see Steve on a comeback.
Second serve.
Wasn't injured, but was only able to play 2 stops last season due to work commitments, and he's been planning around this season for about a year, planning to hit all the stops.
I thought he had an elbow issue or a shoulder issue last year.
Did, but that wasn't what kept him off the tour.
Because he was going to play with that regardless, which is interesting in handball. That you need your arms and your legs to play, yet players will play injured and just adapt around it.
Both guys losing close matches yesterday. Vic in a tiebreaker. Stephen losing 21, or excuse me, 15-12, 15-10.
One zero.
Looked like it could have been short.
Skip. 2-0. Zero. Short. Second serve.
Stephen Cooney and Killian Carroll spar quite a bit, Dave. They are separated by a couple hundred miles, Boston and New York City, but they seem to get together frequently to play one another. In fact, they just traveled to San Francisco together to play in the Olympic Club versus NYAC versus Washington Athletic Club Cup, won by the NYAC. Stephen Cooney and Killian both on that team, the New York Athletic Club team. They swept all their matches at that cup.
Six zero. Short. Second serve.
Score here is 6-0 going to 25.
Zero six.
Cooney wanted a screen there, no call from the ref. Digs it back out again. Now he looks up at the referee. I would say that this referee and Steve probably play handball against each other, if anybody.
Right, Matt Chu and Stephen play weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week at the New York Athletic Club. Matt Chu is one of these guys that's on the circuit trying to qualify for the first time. Came up short yesterday against Ryan Pesh.
But don't we always come up just a little short against Ryan? I mean, all of us.
I see what you're saying.
Six, 1.
Steven anticipated that shot, but the angle just a little too sharp in that left corner from Vic Perez.
1-6.
Score is 1-6. Back to the roof. These guys do look evenly matched, even though the score doesn't give that to us at this moment. I mean, Steve Cooney would be, and Vic Perez, both would be just the absolute perfect sparring partner. Somebody that you'd want to play all the time. They get every shot, and they're going to challenge you. You're either going to get better or die trying.
Two, 6.
Oh, and Vic Perez hits that serve right into the ground. He mishit it so badly that he stung his fingertip.
6-2.
You'll rarely see that.
Two, 6.
Can have an interesting match on a side court that isn't, it's being filmed, but it isn't being played live. It'll be Amy Toohey, formerly Amy Olbert, going up against Ivan Burgos.
Amy is just the second women's Race4Eight pro to attempt to qualify on the Race4Eight Tour. Katrina Casey being the other.
6-3. Weapon? Wrist ball, you said? Thank you. 7-3.
Vic calling a wrist ball on himself there, Dave.
Eight, 3.
This is a one-game match to 25, Dave, so not like these best-of-3 matches where you can overcome maybe a slow start and start over in the second game. But there's a lot of time left in this match. It's a long way to 25, Dave.
Yeah, this is anybody's game here. Vic Perez, no stranger to these big game matches. It's been a while for Steve, but it doesn't look like he's been off the tour at all.
Stephen Cooney won his second RFC this summer in Pittsburgh,
9-3.
defeating Eric Torres in the final. Looked really sharp there. Really dominated everyone he played there.
Timeout. It's your first. 10-3.
Vic calling his first time out there following a nice backwall kill from Stephen Cooney, who has that ability to end the rallies from the deep court from shoulder height. Winner of this match, Dave, will face Abraham Montijo for 9th place tomorrow morning. Abe making his way through a tough draw in the 9th place playoffs. Defeats Mattiani in the first round and then just defeated Jonathan Iglesias.
Well, that's a good tournament. Even though you're playing for 9th, and you'd say, well, that's 9th place, but that's pretty impressive, those two guys. And you give us the score of that Iglesias match?
Oh, my bad.
It was definitely close.
All right, you got 2 timeouts left, Vic. 10-3.
25-22 in favor of Abe Montijo against Jonathan Iglesias.
$11-3.
And Steven runs that straight down the wall. Looks like he's coming over that with the reverse, but I think actually he slides slightly underneath it, because when that ball hits the floor, it straightens out.
12-3.
Straight down the wall. And this is one-way traffic here for Steve Cooney, who was not fazed by that Vic Perez timeout at 10-3. He just keeps running points here. Now up, I believe, 13.
13-3.
13-3 as we're approaching halftime.
Short.
And Vic's got to put something together here, Dave, going into halftime.
I agree.
Or this could be a very short match.
Well, it's been longer than it feels, but
3-13.
as of the last 5 minutes, it's moving along because of the way Cooney's playing here. And I agree with that shot that he goes over the top of the ball. It's very interesting. That shot there, it's a short arm. What is it?
But he does come over the top of that one.
Well, yeah, that one. But on his serve, he's
13-3.
doing it on the serve.
Right.
It's like a reverse, but it's an over-the-top reverse. It's an interesting stroke.
Yes.
He's not catching it from the side. He's catching it straight over the top.
It's a unique stroke. I don't see anyone using that stroke.
That's a broken ball.
Vic still hits a very nice return there off of that broken ball.
I think Vic wanted to see parts of the ball fly around the court.
Okay, that's a replay. 14-3.
This could be it.
And that's one of the first shots that Stevens missed.
3-14.
How did you
Short.
Second
serve.
view that little barrage that Mondo went on earlier today with his left hand and his right hand, hitting balls just 1 inch high, hitting balls 1 inch high with both hands from all over the court? It was just amazing, wasn't it?
That's what Mondo does, though. I mean,
4-14.
There's been a few times we've seen him do that for the whole match. Throughout his career, we've seen him do that for spurts.
I brought up to Marcos, who was in the booth here with me, that it was very reminiscent of the U.S. Open doubles.
Right.
But he said, I've seen it so many times, I can't tell you which one it's more like because it's happened so many times.
14-4.
But that one was an interesting one because he did face losing at match point, came back and won.
Right, and Emmett served for it 4 times. Nice shot there from Vic. Kind of a topspin paddle shot.
Four 14. Five 14.
Vic pecking away a little bit here.
It's always hardest getting that last point for some reason.
14-3,
6
Cooney.
14.
Now all of a sudden 7. You'd think Vic is back in this match if he can get to double figures before halftime.
That's a nice side out.
Fourteen 6. Check the ball. 14-6.
And Steve tries to force that one in. Comes up a couple inches short, and now it's Vic back in the
6-14.
box.
Short. Second serve.
And now this match, Dave, has really flipped.
7-14.
Six straight points and counting now for Vic Perez.
8-14.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, really. Now Cooney serving again
14-8.
to go into halftime. Let's see if serve number 5 gets him into this break. Little screen there, no call from the ref. Thank goodness. Vic would have not have been happy.
But that
Side
really
out.
could have been unavoidable, right? I mean, jumping
I guess
right
so,
in
yeah.
front of him.
8-14.
And Steven hitting the ball exceptionally well with his right hand in the front court. Vic's giving him a lot of chances.
14-8.
And this is what you'd expect when these two meet up, Dave.
Well, Stevens served 6 times now.
Right.
8-14.
And that's 6 since I started counting.
I don't have linesman. I thought it was a good ball, Steven. 9-14. Timeout.
And
It's your first. 10-14.
from 14-2 to now 10-14, and Stephen Cooney forced to call a timeout here, as not only is he in danger of losing his momentum, which he has, in danger now, Dave, of going into halftime trailing.
10-14.
Now, I've been in that position. I haven't played a lot in this format, but when I did play in this format, had a nice lead against a player, got stuck on 14, just couldn't get off of it. And then the whole time you're thinking, well, I'm going to go in halftime with the lead, and then you find out you're not. And it's demoralizing when you're sitting at halftime eventually with a deficit. Frustrating, too.
It's funny, if halftime was 13, it would be just as hard to get that 13th point.
Right.
Whatever number it was.
Okay, Steven, you have 2 timeouts left. 10-14.
Big setup here for Vic. And Vic goes for a spike kill and spikes it straight into the ground. Dave, that'd be a 15-yard penalty in the NFL for
14-10.
excessive celebration. And that could be what Steven needs to finally get this 15th point. And it
Nope.
wasn't.
Thank you, Steven.
That was his 7th attempt. And if he's going to get the 15th point, it'll be 8 at least.
10-14. Short. Second serve.
That's an amazing shot from Steven. A fist into the right corner.
But he can't do that when he's serving
14-10.
for some reason. This could be it here, though.
That's a tricky shot.
Okay, halftime, guys.
There
And
it
now,
is.
finally, it ends with sort of a strange air there from Vic, and sometimes that's what you need, Dave.
Yeah, well, he couldn't buy that earlier. So let's go ahead and take a break ourselves. But you never know what's going to happen in the second half. I mean, if Vic's going to continue to play like this, he's going to easily catch up. We'll take a break. We'll be back here for the second half of this one-game match to 25. Stick around. Race4Eight.com.
15-10. Short.
Talking to Steve,
Second serve.
Dave, in between the halftime break there. And he said that the front wall has a lot of bad bounces.
It does. It seems like it does. You didn't witness that, or?
I didn't notice. I was too busy losing. And Steven not able to put these shots away, and Vic catches the crack right in front of Steven.
10-15.
Sometimes, Dave, when you play a guy like Vic, who you know can make these comebacks, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even though you're up big, you're telling yourself, well, he's going to come back. This is what he does. And I think Steven went through that in that first half.
That's true.
You can't be giving your opponent credit for doing something when he hasn't done it yet. Well, I'm up 14-3, but I'm expecting the run. I always, when I used to watch the NBA, which I'll never watch again, you always hear the announcers talk about, well, the run's coming. And the other team seems to know it, too. Why does it have to come, that run?
It just always does.
But it does, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a three-ring circus, that league. Sorry to break it to you.
Not this upcoming year.
Oh, no, not this one.
This year is the craziest year in the NBA history, in my opinion.
Well, I saw that 93% of the GMs predicted Golden State to win, so I don't know what's crazy about that. One team is...
But it's not always like that. An injury away.
15-12.
Well, they won with an injury that...
Who?
No.
Who? Nobody.
Okay. Well, I won't be watching, so...
I mean, you have these teams that are powerhousing. I mean, who would have ever thought that LeBron James and D. Wade and Derrick Rose and Isaiah Thomas were all going to be on the same team now? I mean that's a super group. And then you look over at what's going on in Oklahoma City.
15-12.
Now you have Paul George over there.
But yet they're going to still waste their time
Carmelo
playing 82
Anthony.
games.
Carmelo Anthony's over there. Paul George and Westbrook. You got MVPs, former MVPs, guys that should have won the MVP. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And then look what Houston is doing. Always Houston. Chris Paul now their point guard.
You certainly know your stats.
17-12.
James Harden, MVP candidate. They're going to be tough to reckon with. But don't forget the Milwaukee Bucks. Always strong.
Right now, Vic is forgetting
18-12.
what allowed him to climb back into this game, which was eliminating his errors and making some great kill shots.
Second serve.
It's nice to see Jennifer Hinman back playing handball. Oh, wait, no,
12-18.
That's Amy Toohey, sorry.
Short.
Very similar style game.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Amy
Second
Toohey
serve.
appeared in 2 women's Race4Eight stops, made the semifinals in both.
Jennifer Hinman won the plumber event in the inaugural year.
13-18.
I announced and ref that match, not to make it about me, but I do remember that.
Well, you left it out of your stats.
That wasn't a race event.
Pre-race. A pre-race.
And I don't. Pre-race and race are 2 separate things.
As Vic slides that ball down the right wall.
14-18.
This is a great shot here. Put that in the perfect spot. Ooh. I think you call that a stiletto, right, Dave? Steven just threads the
18-14.
needle there in the right corner.
Usually it's Vic that has that shot.
Well, Steven brought his stiletto to Atlanta.
Second serve.
Clearly.
Steve does look impressive, more so than we've seen him.
Wow.
But maybe that's due
Revolving
to his
door.
sparring partner.
19-14.
Sounds like a broken ball. And it is. Marcos Chavez, Dave, up in the referee's booth just to feed the new balls down. The balls are either broken or lopsided, and he's there on top of it.
Well, I find that impressive that we can't find line judges, but we can have that guy on staff.
Yeah. Also a 17th place playoff going on here, Dave.
Guys ready? That's a replay. 19-14.
So Vic outscoring Steven 11-5 in the last 16 points, but it still finds himself trailing by 5. That's what happens when you fall way behind.
14-19. Short.
But like we said, Dave, at
Second
the
serve.
top of the broadcast, these are long games to 25.
$19-14. $20-14.
Score here
Short.
now 20-14.
Second serve.
Steven now inching closer to the finish line, Dave, in the 9th
21-14.
place final, where if he maintains this lead, he will face Abraham Montijo,
who's also been very impressive this tournament.
22-14.
Losing to Emmett Peixote in the main round, but then going through Nick Mattiani
23-14.
and then John Iglesias.
Second serve.
And Dave, as much as we were talking about Abe winning, he actually lost that match to John Iglesias. We got the wrong information.
Wow.
I guess when I asked Abraham the score and he gave me the
Match
score,
point 14.
he made it into. He
Short.
made it look like he actually won.
Second serve.
Can we
He had a
rewind this
smile on
broadcast?
his- Yeah.
Can you alter a live feed? Well, I've only said it 8 times, so it's not like I've...
I was 11 or 12, actually.
And now we'll see if Steven has as much difficulty getting the 25th point as he did the 15th.
14-24.
14-24. That was a great year. It's nice to see the crowd that we have here forming for this match.
Well, the crowd's out to see the women's race for 8, number
Oh, you had a
6,
shot.
Amy Toohey, on the adjacent
That's-
stadium
sorry, I
court.
didn't call it.
She's in a battle here, Dave, with young Ivan Burgos.
15-24. Short.
That she is.
Second serve.
Big setup here for Vic. He'll put this away.
Steve is trying to call.
That looked like it hit the middle of the door.
Towel?
Every play he thinks it's a bad bounce. That's the that's the thing.
But I guess we can't see the replay of this, but it looked, and I'm watching this, watching the actual court. That looked like it hit the middle of the door.
Well, he tried to get a bad bounce on the previous play, and that was a no go for the ref. I noticed that on your Twitter
With the
feed,
replay,
you really are
15,
enamored
24.
with what Donald Trump is saying. As we had a little break there. Now Steven goes back in. See if he can close this one out.
Match point 15.
This could be it right here. That ball hit. Vic, no.
You see Steven going for a very low percentage
24.
shot there. Sometimes you see the finish line, you just think, well, I just hit one great shot and it's over. Vic probably too far behind.
16-24.
Ivan Burgo is making a huge comeback here, Dave, after falling way behind Amy 2A.
There's another right corner kill for Vic Perez.
17-24.
Not that I'll get the result right anyway, so
That's true.
what does it matter?
I don't even know why you asked or care.
Yeah, I care. I just can't get it right. My sign language isn't that good.
Match point 17.
You know, at 24-17, at 17, you still feel like you have something.
No,
That all ended right there. The ball did slide, though.
yes,
And I saw that.
I did as well.
And now Steve's going to be upset because he tried to get 2 bad bounce calls and they didn't say anything, but that definitely slid over there.
Let's play it over.
Steve just feels. Steve feels pretty jaded. I don't blame him, but it was a slide.
No.
Steve is like, wait a second. The crowd is going to let you tell.
17. No.
Yeah, Steve's making a good point here. You're going to take their word. You wouldn't take mine earlier.
Match point 17.
I like that return up there, that
Yeah.
high fist, but it
a
can
little
lead
too
to
high.
stuff like that. And there is that final point now for Stephen Cooney.
Good match, guys.
He takes down Vic Perez, and he's going to be in the 9th place final versus another one of his rivals, John Iglesias. So that'll be fun. That one was 25-17, I believe the score.
That's right.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I said it out loud so you couldn't get it wrong. Like all the other past reporting of scores and winners. I guess we're going to have like just a small break. It won't be a big one, but it'll be small enough where probably 10, 25 minutes from now, it'll be Marco Chavez going up against Luis Cordova for, I believe, the upper half semifinal of the 5th place playoff.
That's right.
Okay, so that'll come up right around the corner. So we're going to have a little break here, 25 minutes or so. I want to thank Linda Manning and Chris Grad for doing what they do, as well as yourself there, Dave. We'll have more coming up around the corner as the Race for 8 continues and the semifinals later this afternoon, or this going into the evening at race4eight.com.